Today we're going to be ranking every single underdog for the males, at least for UFC 323. Obviously, if I'm putting a fighter up in the upper echelon tiers, I think there's good value on them and they got a really good chance of winning. And obviously, if they're in the lower echelon tiers, I think the opposite, okay? Starting off with the first one we got, man, our boy, our glorious little king, Joshua Van, man, okay? I'm going to put him in the A tier. Not the S tier because I'm not going to lie, y'all. I am a little bit worried. For as much as I'm rooting for Van and I like Van, I'm worried that we're kind of... This is one of those fights that we might be overhyping the underdog just a little bit. And that hurts me to say, man, because I hope Van gets it done. But the vibes are just really similar too. And the betting odds are really similar too as well. Like a Makhachev versus JDM, a Chimaev versus DDP. And we build them up so much. Oh, this is some of the most 50-50 fights we've ever seen. And it ends up the champion, predominantly the grappler. They end up just dominating. And then we're just sitting there scratching our heads afterwards like, we said this was 50-50 and we were in for a war and a dogfight. What the hell happened? But in general, unfortunately, that's kind of the vibes this fight gives me, but I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that it genuinely will be such a heavy class of styles here, and it's the new guard versus the old. I hope that Joshua Van can keep the fight standing, unload with his beautiful and crisp to watch boxing, okay? He's got amazing speed, timing, shot selection, and great combinations in general, man. His boxing is something else. And if he's able to keep the fight standing like he has against Ray Saruya and Bruno Silva and Cody Durden, man, if his takedown defense is able to hold up that well and how efficient he is in the scrambles is holding up that well against Pantoja, I feel like the fight could be his, man. No matter what, though, if Van does win, I think he is going to face some adversity. I think it will be a dogfight, but we're just going to have to see because Pantoja, unlike a Ray Saruya or Cody Durden and whoever the fuck these guys are, right? Pantoja is just such a different element, a different beast, and a level above with his grappling. So for as much as I like Van and I really want him to win, I think flyweight will have a bit of a rejuvenation. Not that it's a bad division right now, but like if Pantoja wins, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do next, okay? But if Joshua Van wins, so many options and a young champion who's going to be active and entertaining and all that, you know what I mean? But it's going to be easier said than done, man. Like I said, I think that a lot of people, you know, were like, oh, this fight's so 50-50. Van is going to be the future generation, the future superstar. I'd love for that to happen, but Pantoja is him right now. He's on a generational run, couple more title defenses, and this guy's going to be right up there with Demetrius Johnson, if not passing him, okay? And Joshua Van, he's only been training for 5 to 6 years in MMA, and don't get me wrong, like, look at a guy like Alex Pereira. I get he had so much amazing kickboxing experience, but he was training MMA for a similar timeline, and his takedown defenses look great. But Joshua Van is just learning all of the elements at once, it seems, okay? Like, he's the Avatar. He's just going to need to go bald and have that blue arrow come down, but you know what I'm saying, man. I'm going to put him in the A tier because I think he has a really good chance to be able to get it done. I think there's good value on him as the underdog that he is. He's like shy under a plus 200, but I think it's just easier said than done, and I think Pantoja is going to be as ready as ever for a dogfight, aiming for submissions, okay? Ready to get these takedowns in, and he's going to be hunting for a finish. So I like Van. I hope he gets it done, but I'm going to put him in the A tier. There's a good chance, but it's also not too confident at the same time. You know what I mean? Moving on up next to Petr Yan in the main event, man. I like Petr Yan a lot, okay? I think that on paper he will be able to beat most of the division, but Merab is the guy that is dog walking most of the division right now, okay? I'm going to put Petr Yan in the C tier, and it sucks. Listen, I went so back and forth before I was making this video. I'm like, do I put Yan in B because I want to put respect on him, and I don't think he should be this big of an underdog, and I think that I honestly think that he could steal away some early rounds from Merab, but I feel like we're going to need to see the best Yan we've seen in years for him to win this fight and the worst Merab we've seen in years. And that's the problem here, right? Yan being such a massive underdog, he's like over a plus 300, around that plus 400 range. I think that's kind of crazy, but for the generational run that Merab is on right now, I don't necessarily blame the odds makers, man. Like, Yan, his stand-up is amazing. He has very crisp boxing, and I think that it can hang with the best of the best. And how he is defensively with the striking, very high guard, and how he is defensively with the wrestling. His takedown defense is amazing. It's all there for Yan, okay? In terms of his pure skill set and being a well-rounded athlete, Yan is it, man. But Merab, dude, this guy is just, even though he's 34 or 35 years old, he's still improving. He's still getting even better, man, okay? I think the activity could hurt Merab here, but in general, like, he is one of the safer picks and locks of the card. It's crazy to call anybody a lock against Yan, but in general, man, I think Merab has just gotten so much better than the first fight. Whereas Yan, okay, he was in the first fight between him and Merab. Yeah, he had the injury with the right arm or the right hand, and that definitely was a factor, but it's not like Yan has just improved a lot since then. Yan has always been good, and he's maintained being that fucking good, whereas Merab started out the bit of construction work at Jabroni, brother. Now he's just rising up. He's improving rapidly. And on top of the fact that his stand-up has been getting better, we've seen it against guys like Umar and O'Malley and Sandhagen. Almost knocked out Sandhagen, man. And Jesus, these are guys who are pure bread and blood. I don't even know what that means. Pure blood for blood strikers, man, okay? And really good ones at that. Very elite. And if Merab is able to hang in the pocket with these guys, if Merab is able to fucking be able to hang with them with the striking numbers and then be able to get his takedowns going, and then rounds 2 through 5 is just domination for him, man. And now he has finishing threat. Now he has finishing ability. He's looking for these submissions. It's very worrying for Yan, man, okay? So unfortunately, I do like Yan. He does have a chance to get it done, but on top of the fact he's a slow starter as well, like usually takes a round or two to warm up and really get going. Whereas at that point for Merab, that's where he's already really in his element and he really starts to take over. He's a heavy pressure fighter. He has mean physicality and he's constantly trying to get you the entire fight. I don't think that bodes well for Yan here. So unfortunately, I'm going to put Yan in the C tier. It might seem a bit disrespectful, man, but when I'm looking at the other underdogs, I'm about to put in like S, A, and B. I just can't put Yan in that similar level for this matchup, unfortunately, okay? Moving on to the next one we got here, man. Henry fucking Cejudo. I can't believe I picked this dude, bro. And it's either about to age really well or really poorly. I'm going to put Cejudo in the B tier, man. On paper, he should be able to get this one done, man, okay? Yes, he has the wrestling advantage, but I think what a lot of people get confused about Cejudo is that he's more of a wrestler than a striker because of the Olympic background. But, man, he's more of a striker than a wrestler. And honestly, I feel like ever since the comeback has started, he's been able to hang with these guys besides Merab. Merab was the only one that literally just put a leash on him and started taking him out for a morning stroll. Unfortunately for Cejudo, man. Cejudo was picking him up and slamming him down like prime WWE. But in general, man, Cejudo, I think he is getting a bit overshit on with this comeback run in terms of how the actual matchups are going. I know he's losing, but he's making it competitive. And this is such a big step down in competition. Let's be honest. Even from the prime Cejudo when he was on that bantamweight and flyweight title run and even the comeback now, like these are some of the best guys in the division he's facing. And now he's going against a very green 10-1 prospect who just got out-grappled and just got out-dogged by Raoni Barcelos within a calendar year. And Henry Cejudo, man, my point earlier was saying that he's more of a striker than a wrestler. I feel like his wrestling will be able to be efficiently utilized against Talbot. I think he's really going to be shooting for these takedowns here, especially as the fight continues on. And if he's not liking all the adversity and mean combinations and power, wild spinning attacks and elbows and knees that Talbot throws on the feet, I think Cejudo will rely a bit more on the wrestling as the fight goes on. But I think he's going to go into this one with a bit of that being part of the game plan. You know what I mean? Cejudo here, man, I think he'll be able to hold his own in the striking, even though Talbot has a mean physicality advantage and a mean height and reach advantage, man. Like 5'10 to 5'4, okay? He literally put his balls on Cejudo's fucking forehead. The thing is, man, Cejudo, regardless of how good Talbot is or is going to be, and the takedown defense has improved, and he has probably just a pure striking advantage here, I do think that Cejudo will be able to hang his own. Like, level of competition is a real fucking thing. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. Genuinely, with all of the killers that Cejudo has faced over the past few years, okay? Demetrius Johnson, TJ Dillashaw, all these guys, okay? Song Yadong, Sterling. They are not Peyton Talbot, or I guess I should say Peyton Talbot is not them. So I think Cejudo should be able to hold his own in the striking despite the height and reach disadvantage. I think he should be able to get his takedowns going and rack up some decent control here, okay? Aim for some good ground and pound. And I like the value on him here, and I do think that there's a good chance he can get it done. So I'm going to say Cejudo goes in the B tier. It's risky. It's not too confident of a pick, but like, you know what I mean. And there's good value here, and he should be able to get it done with this step down in competition. But we'll see it, because he's going to be retiring this one for the 80th time, win or lose. So we're going to have to see, man, okay? Moving on up next here, man, Brandon Moreno. You already know this guy was front row for the Lego movie dropping, bro. And I love Brandon Moreno, man. I'm going to put this guy in the S tier, dude. I genuinely think he's one of the best underdogs of the card, if not like the best underdog. And I'm picking Tatsuro Taira. I am. But, dude, Brandon Moreno is such a monster on the feet. And he's clearly going to have the striking advantage here. High guard. Nice 1-2. Nice overhand left. And I feel like that he'll be able to piece up Tara with a lot of his combinations here. Objectively, man, he's sitting right now at a very slight underdog. It's like a plus 115, plus 120, that kind of range. And in general, man, this guy's in the middle of his prime still. He's already reached all the highs and lows of the sport. And yet this guy's only 31 years old, okay? He doesn't have like a height and reach advantage or anything like that. But for the most part, his takedown defense has been pretty good. And how he looks in these scrambles is pretty good. Yeah, you got a Figueiredo or a Pantoja, that level of grappler in competition. They're able to take down Moreno at times. And usually they win those kinds of fights where Moreno is getting taken down a bunch. But for the most part, Moreno is no slouch on the ground. It's really hard for people to get their takedowns on him. And in general, for his stand-up alone, it's beautiful to watch. He's one of the best strikers in flyweight, and I think that's really going to help him here, okay? So it's kind of crazy that he is the underdog. I thought he was going to be the favorite. I know a lot of people, me included, are picking Tara, but I didn't expect Tara to be the favorite here. I think there's good value on Moreno, and despite me not picking him, I think there's a good chance he gets this one done, okay? And shows why he's hung around the top 5 or top 3, top 1 of flyweight for so goddamn long, you know what I mean? Moving on to the next one we got here, bro. It's Bogdan Guskov, looking like the fusion dance between the Crimson Chin and Mr. Clean, bro. But in general, I'm going to put him in the H-tier here. Listen, I'm going with Blachowicz as my prediction, but in terms of Guskov being an underdog, I thought he was going to be the favorite, to be honest with you. But Guskov, and I'm going to put him in the H-tier. I think that Blachowicz should be able to get it done, but I'm worried if his timing and his reaction time and his speed isn't there. I think that's really how Guskov's going to take this one, okay? I think applying Blachowicz, of course, would win this one. He's one of the best calf kickers in the game. I feel like his stand-up alone, I would just rate better than Guskov's, on top of the fact Blachowicz has the takedown threat he uses at times. But Guskov, man, listen, I think that if this really is the grandpa status Blachowicz, he should be able to win this one, okay? And for as much as I like Blachowicz, Guskov, there are things to worry about here. He's got a very low guard. He's very specific with his shot selection at times, kind of low output, and then he really hunts for the knockout. And if that knockout isn't coming, he kind of just sits and waits on it. And I think that could hurt him going against a matchup like Blachowicz. But Guskov, man, I'm putting him in the H here because there is good value on him here to get it done, man. Even with the low guard, even though he can be very hittable, I think that even still, man, if he's able to pull away on the judges' scorecards here, I don't think he has the power necessarily to knock out Blachowicz. I think Blachowicz is super durable, but if Guskov is just applying a bit more volume and output, and if he's just looking like the quicker fighter, finding all the right shots with his combinations, I could see him stealing away these rounds here and getting some kind of win. Again, I think he has crazy power, but I don't know if it's able to crack through the durability of the Polish power of Blachowicz. But regardless, there's good value on Guskov here, man. Okay, his shiny bald head, I could see him winning some kind of 29-28 decision here. So there's good value. I'm going to put him in the H here, but rooting for Blachowicz, and I think Blachowicz will take it, but you know what I'm saying. Moving on now, and we're finally getting to the prelims here, dude. Manuel Torres, dude. I'm going to put Torres in the B tier. This is scary as fuck for Dawson, man, okay? He's fighting all the chin allegations, okay? It's like a dust in the wind. You know what I'm saying? That's how we're talking about Dawson's chin, man. But I feel like Dawson should be able to win this one. He's got the clear wrestling pedigree and grappling advantage. And I've always said he's one of the most underrated fighters on the roster, okay? He just kind of got fucked over by that God damn it, Bobby performance. And Manuel Torres, though, is going to be a really dangerous matchup for him, though, okay? Especially that first round. If it makes it past the first round, okay, Dawson's probably going to win that one. He should at least. But that first round, man, the heartbeat is going to be racing like Luffy activating that Joy Boy powers, okay? Listen, Manuel Torres, man, he's a great striker. He's very physical, very high output, and he doesn't aim to coast throughout the fight. He aims to finish and take your lights out early. I think Torres has nasty KO power and finishing ability in general, and I feel like if he really is getting the better of Dawson in the striking early on, man, his speed is there, his timing is there, and his power shines through. I think that he could find the chin of Dawson and knock him out. But unfortunately, I think that in terms of the grappling, like, this guy can get submitted. He can get out grappled. We haven't seen too much of it at the UFC level, which is good for him. But in general, this guy is prone to that. And he's going to want to keep it standing and banging. We don't really know how he is in that second, third round, etc. So, in general, Dawson should be able to win this one. He's a big favorite. But Torres, I'm going to put in the B tier because there is good value on him here to just find that chin of Dawson with a straight right hand or something like that. Just something getting in the pocket. And Torres could be able to knock his ass out. Unfortunately for a Dawson fan, okay? But in general, I'm going to put Torres in the B tier here. Good value on him here. And he could get the knockout, okay? Moving on, I'm next to Terrance McKinney, man. This guy technically could be a world champion on paper. But here we are back on the prelims, my friend. All right, listen, I like Terrance McKinney, man. He's sitting right now as like a plus 140, plus 150, and this guy brings the entertainment every single time, okay? I'm going to put him in the B tier as well, okay? Another one of these guys, similar to Manuel Torres, like, okay, if he's going to win, it's probably going to be a first-round finish. But even more so with McKinney, man. This guy's live by the sword, die by the sword, okay? Sacrifice my chromies for the homies. Jesus, that's Terrance McKinney's motto, man. And in general, man, this guy is well-rounded. He has a really good finishing game. He has nasty power on the feet. He's got a nice submission game, okay? And I feel like he could be able to get this one done, but Duncan is also well-rounded, man. I feel like Duncan can meet him in the fire here. And I feel like I'm going with Duncan to win that fight. I think Duncan is going to find that first-round finish while McKinney is rushing in and getting probably a bit too reckless, aiming for that early finish. And he could be very chinny at times. His fight IQ could be questionable, cardio, whatever you want to say about it. But I'm going to put McKinney in, like, that solid B tier because, like, he can find the chin of Duncan. Duncan is coming off of a war against Rebecca, and Rebecca made probably a bit too quick of a turnaround, whereas Duncan at least got those extra 2 months after to recover. But Jesus Christ, man, he took so much damage in that fight. I think McKinney could be that level of competition to really put his momentum to a halt. And McKinney could get this win, man, via or some kind of early finish. Maybe find the chin of Duncan after he took all that damage. Maybe get some kind of submission. Who the hell knows? I believe that Duncan's only loss in the UFC was a chokeout via Manuel Torres. So he's prone to it, man, in general. So I think Terrance McKinney, there is solid value on him here, okay? Could get a first-round finish, man, but in general, it's going to get riskier as the fight goes on. And I feel like Duncan has more tools to get it done. Probably is the smarter fighter, just a bit more well-rounded. So that's why I'm going with Duncan. But there's good value on McKinney, man. I'm going to put him in the B tier. He has a good chance to get this one done. Risky pick no matter who you're picking, all right? Moving on up next, I mean, speaking of the same thing, it's risky no matter what, man. Nazim Sadykhov, the next underdog we got here, I'm going to put him in the A tier. I'll put him in the A tier, man. I think there's some pretty goddamn good value on Sadykhov. I'm going with Siam, but Sadykhov is such a marauder in every sense of the word. He's very versatile on the feet, okay? Mixes it up very well with knees, elbows, kicks to the body and the head, man. And he's applying such a constant pressure, man. I know he's going life and death with Borshev, and that's a pretty shit look from like the 8-7 Borshev, but in general, he's practically undefeated in the UFC. He's either knocking out his opponent or putting on a war of a fight every single time. And I can appreciate that out of Sadykhov, okay? But the thing is, man, he can get so reckless at times and he can be so poor defensively to where I think Siam is just going to be able to kind of, you know, not allow him to thrive in the dogfight. I think he's going to do a good job of neutralizing him because Siam is so patient, technical, and composed. But I could see Sadykhov just having that power advantage, that dogfight mentality advantage here. And he drags Siam into deep waters that he's not comfortable with. So I'm going to put Sadykhov in the A tier, man. I think there's a reason why this fight's so hard to call. I think that Sadykhov could just bring the dog into Siam, and that's just going to favor Sadykhov because Siam is much more comfortable in that patient environment. But Sadykhov's a marauder, man. He's a beast. He's probably going to apply an insane pressure from the start. One of the best fights all year was him versus Mota that already went down in June. So, you know, you're going to see something similar to this one, hopefully, okay? So I'm going to put Sadykhov in the A tier, man. Even though I'm going with Siam, I think there's great value on Sadykhov, all right? Not too big of an underdog, but you know what I mean. Moving on up next to Brunno Ferreira here, man. I'm going to put Brunno Ferreira in the S tier. I might be biased because this is like one of the only underdogs I'm picking on the card, but I don't know how he's an underdog, man. Well, I do get it. I'm not going to lie. There was like a month or two I was going to go with Marvin Vittori. How the fuck is that even a question? The Super Marvin Vittorio Bros movie? Jesus Christ, man. Coming to a theater near you. I was going to go with him, man. But rewatching a past few of both of these guys' fights, man, I just think all the momentum is on the side of Brunno Ferreira here, whereas Vittori is losing all momentum. He knows that not only his spot in the rankings is on the line, but possibly his career in the UFC is on the line. And he's going to go from like that 19-10 record now if he loses. So it's going to be rough for Vittori if he comes up short. But I think Vittori is so simplistic with this style. He's got a nice one too. He can apply good wrestling when he wants to, but even then it has to be against a certain level of competition. And his boxing is just so slow at times. They're easy for guys to figure out and get ahead in the judges' scorecards to where we talk about Vittori, like his highlight of his career is how nasty of a chin he's got, how good of a chin he's got. But like Brunno Ferreira is just that type of explosivity, athleticism, and high-level finishing ability where I could see Brunno maybe finishing a man, okay? I get that he's like older than Vittori, which is crazy, man, but Ferreira seems like the much younger fighter because he's finally just really coming into his own. Don't get me wrong, he can lose this fight. Like, this is a step up in competition for Vittori here. I'm sorry, for Ferreira here, and it's a big step down for Vittori, which might favor him, but in general, I think Ferreira could find some kind of submission here. Maybe have that power and explosivity to actually knock out Vittori because Vittori is just finally back and he's finally active this year, but he's like 0-3 already, 0-2 already. You know what I mean? And one of them is a 49-46 to Roman to Lindsay, bro. I don't even know how that's possible, but in general, I think Ferreira could just be the much more aggressive fighter here to carry away in the judges' scorecards. He can't get reckless with it. He has to be prepared to mentally go to a decision here, like a lot of people do with Vittori. But in general, man, as long as he plays it smart, I think Ferreira should get this one done. I'm going to put him in the yes tier here, okay? Moving on up next to Edson Barboza. I'm going to put Barboza in the C tier here, man. It's a rough matchup for him, man. He's just getting more up there in age. He's about to be 40 years old, okay? Praise the Lord. Give this guy a fucking birthday cake, Jesus. Jalen Turner on the other end, man. I get that he's coming off the retirement nonsense and now he's already back, but this is such a winnable level of competition for a man, okay? And even looking at his losses, like he fumbled the Moicano loss. It is what it is. He's going to like split decisions that could arguably go his way with Dan Hooker and fucking Matus Gamrot. You know what I mean? So Turner is good, man, and he's still in the middle of his prime. Just really entry, man. He's like 30 years old. He's got the height and reach advantage here. And Barboza is just going to be the much slower athlete, the much more hittable athlete. I feel like the speed isn't there. The power isn't there. Yeah, it is hard to finish him, but he just keeps losing so consistently over the past few years. It's not the Barboza of old that has nasty knees and one of the best leg kickers in the game. Like, that's just not Barboza anymore. He's very hittable. He's putting over a lot of young guys, and Turner is that, man, okay? Turner just has that height and reach advantage here, the power advantage, speed advantage, more aggressive, more rejuvenated, okay? And I just feel like Barboza, it's looking rough for him, man. Barboza could get it done. He could fluke this one. That's why I'm putting him in the C tier and not D or something like that. I could see Barboza just like shutting down Turner somehow and just carrying away to like a dull 29-28 decision. I just think it's very unlikely, you know what I mean? So I'm going to put Barboza, unfortunately, in the C tier here. Moving on up next to Ibo Aslan. I'm going to put Aslan in the B tier here, man. I'm not picking him to win it, but I do think that there is some solid value here. This is kind of one of those underdogs of the card where everybody's looking at him and going, oh, Aslan has that plus money, man. Y'all are sleeping on Aslan, man. People forget, man. And I think that's fair as fuck. I was originally going to go with Aslan, okay? I think the guy at this point is just being underrated and a bit overlooked in his career, and he's taking on someone who, listen, he's been nasty on the regional scene, and Iwo Baranuski, I knew this was going to happen, bro, I can't say his name, Iwo Baranuski. This guy's nasty on the regional scene. The first shot he threw, even though he was a big underdog in the Contender Series, the first shot he threw was able to knock out his opponent, okay? It's a winnable fight for Ibo Aslan, man. I get that he's coming off a lackluster last performance. He got pieced up for 3 rounds against Billy Alacana. Right before that, he got choked out in 2 or 3 minutes by Yunku Talapa. But those are good fighters, man, okay? So I can see Ibo Aslan. He's still young. He's still 29 years old. He's representing the whole country of Turkey on his back here. He could still be constantly improving, and I feel like he could show the UFC level, but we're going to have to see it, man, okay? He has nasty power and great finishing instincts and good volume on the feet in general, but Baranuski is going to be a really tough matchup who I think can meet him in the fire, so that's why I'm not going to put Aslan higher, but I think there is good value on him here, man. I think there's a reason why a lot of people forget manning him and putting him, obviously, as like their underdog of the week or some shit, you know what I mean? Moving on to the next one we got here, man, Antonio Trocolli. Oh, dear God, bro. I don't even know how A, this guy's in the UFC, and how B, this guy landed Mackenzie Dern. But for both answers, man, it is what it is. I'm going to put this guy in the D tier. I think he's the worst underdog of the card. He's just the one that definitively should not get this done. If Trocolli actually somehow gets this upset win, man, it's going to be crazy to say, but he just shouldn't be able to get this done, man. He's just 0-2 in the UFC. The actual Contender Series performance that got him there ended up being overturned to a no contest. Like, this guy's 12-5. He's got a massive height and reach advantage here, but like, he's just so prone to pressure fighters. And Mansour Abdulmalik, with a very high finishing rate and very high pressure every single time he fights, is that, man, okay? I get he's coming off of the lackluster Cody Brundage performance, but Abdulmalik is still so young, man. He is still so aggressive, 100% finish rate, man. I feel like he's going to have the clear striking advantage here, and I feel like he's not going to be afraid to get nasty in the pocket with Trocolli, throwing some mean elbows, nice one too. And Trocolli, man, he can get submitted. He can get knocked out. And for Mansour Abdulmalik, who's so versatile and powerful on the feet, I think he should be able to win this one. So Trocolli has like a physical advantage because he's a bit taller, a bit rangier, but in general, man, he shouldn't be able to get this one done, in my opinion, okay? I'm going to put him in the D tier because of that, all right? And moving on to the last one we got here, dude, Muhammad Naimov. I'm going to put Muhammad Naimov in the B tier. I think there's some good value on him here. I don't think he should be as big of an underdog as he is. He has the wrestling advantage here. I feel like to win this fight, he's going to need to be shooting constant takedowns and trying to mix this fight up in the clinch for as long as it lasts. But listen, man, I do think there's a reason why Santos is the favorite. 17-1 record, very dynamic kickboxer, okay? And I feel like that this guy has such slick combinations to the point to where, yeah, he doesn't have the most output at times. And yeah, he arguably robbed Francis Marshall. But in general, he's still so good, man. He's still so young. He's ever improving. And his stand-up is so slick and so fun to watch to where, man, I can see Santos, them giving him a push. And yes, this is a step up in competition. That's why I'm going to put Naimov in the B tier, because I think there is a pretty solid chance he can get it done. But I think Santos should be able to just pass this test for now, okay? Don't get me wrong, though. Naimov, 31 years old here. He is kind of in that middle of his prime. And he is kind of being underrated a bit in this matchup. I'm not seeing a lot of people pick Naimov here. But again, if he wants to just really aim to get his wrestling going here, I think maybe he could expose that in Santos' game. But for the most part, Santos has had good takedown defense. But Naimov just has such low output on the feet sometimes, where I could see Santos carrying the fight away in the judges' scorecards. And his power is so on and off, just depends on the performance, to where I can't really rely on it for Naimov. So Naimov is a step up in competition here. Don't get me wrong, he is being a bit underrated in this matchup, and he could get it done and show levels, but regardless, I'm going to trust in Santos. And even though it could be a hard fight to call, I'm going to put this in the B tier, okay? And that's going to be it for this video, boys. This is me ranking every single underdog of the card for UFC 323. Let me know what you think in the comments below, man. I'd really appreciate it. And as usual, guys, thank you so very much for giving me your time and attention. It means the world as always. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Have a really good time watching the fights this weekend, y'all. And I will see you guys next time. Sorry for getting this video out so late, by the way. I went like 4 days without an upload. I'm actually fucking sick. I don't know if you could still hear it, but I'm finally recovering from it. So that's why there was a delay with this, okay? So I appreciate y'all for hanging with me.